One of the questions that I want to address in the context of the situation now, before Nelson Mandela, is the question of black organizations and the significance of Nelson Mandela for black struggle. I want to emphasize in this question because the media and the white supremacy media saw Nelson Mandela as a tool of Negroes and telling in TV that you know what, that the consequence of Nelson Mandela is the consequence of the black people dealing with the slave master and kissing with the house Negro. The real question in Nelson Mandela with the hip hop generation is to understand that the Nelson Mandela, he didn't was hip hop star. He's not Puff Daddy, if not Big Daddy Kane. He's not Wu-Tang Clan. Nelson Mandela was a member of the struggle, a member of the tradition of the struggle. There is not Nelson Mandela if he's not Winnie Mandela. There is not Winnie Mandela if you have the ANC. We have no ANC if we don't have the UNIA and the Garvey movement. So we must understand the struggle of Nelson Mandela in the context of Africans' liberation movement. When the African people fight against colonialisms, or the Kwame Nkrumah called neocolonialisms. That's why the struggle come about in the South Africa. It was only in all Africa and all over the world. We see what's going on in Zimbabwe. We see what's going on in Mozambique. And we saw what's going on in Kenya with the Mau Mau. We see what's going on in Namibia with the SWAPO. We see what's going on in Angola with the FLN and the Cuban army. And the Cuban Revolutionary Army has come to fight against apartheid. So we must understand this question in the historic process. We must deal with historic process. I said in Barcelona, for Pan-African conference in Barcelona, that we must understand the historic process. When we're talking about the question of the freedom of African people, it doesn't matter where those people coming from, Marcus Garvey, or Maroons, or Mali Yesitela, or Malcolm X, or whatever, We are talking about the question of a history of Africans. South Africa, he's still, the process of the African people is fighting for their own history. It's not only South Africa, it's about all Africa. And that's why one of the great African men is said one time in Mozambique, in Maputo, Samora Machel, and he fought against apartheid. And we must understand the question of apartheid as the question of continuation between slavery, colonialisms, apartheid, and immigration. This is four steps that we must understand in the very dialectical process. Because if we still listening what the media said on Mandela or apartheid, we're talking about Chris Hani, we're talking about Walter Sisulu, we're talking about Oliver Tambo, we're talking about many people, even white people who was fighting against apartheid inside this movement. So we, Pan-African movement in Spain, we never been existent if Winnie Mandela didn't lead their anti-apartheid movement. If in 1988, Alfonso Arcelin and other people who wake up to fight in the context of the Free Mandela movement. This is our history, and I want all militants of this movement all over Spain understand that we are not telling hip-hop star to deal about our history. We are the vanguard of the revolutionary movement that is coming from history, and we must understand the history and give the young people, give the hip-hop generation the real history on African liberation in the 21st century. Uhuru.